Why does Meghan Markle's As Ever packaging just feel off? I think I may have figured it out. Hey, I'm Rachel. I run the cheeky satirical website called Montecito Minimalist, and today we are breaking down packaging. So if you want to join in on my theory here, go grab 3 random packaged items, stuff under your sink, stuff in the pantry, whatever. I'll be right back. Hold on. Okay. I grabbed more than 3. All right. So I've been spending a lot of time looking at packaging because I was trying to understand why the packaging just looked off. I'll save you for later. Okay. So there seems to be a kind of packaging hierarchy that like everything follows, okay? From like generic brands to like French and Italian brands, okay? So it's not just one particular brand. And it's really simple. All right, Amazon grocery, tiny. Baking soda, what the product is, big, okay? L'Occitane shea butter, large font, L'Occitane, small. Name of the company, what it is, okay? Name of the company, Bath & Body Works. Actually, I'm gonna get this up here. See, Bath & Body Works, tiny itty bitty font. At the beach, what it is, the fragrance, big, okay? Same thing goes for Lavazza espresso. Lavazza, not as big as espresso. It might actually, it looks smaller, it's more condensed. Espresso takes over a big part of the jar, okay? This also goes for perfumes, right? San Ysidro Drive, name of the perfume. Victoria Beckham, name of the brand. Okay, even my 2-wick 11-ounce candle follows the same route, okay? Montecito Minimalist, small, smells like Todger, night cream, big. The reason why I'm pulling this up is because I'm going to As Everify this candle later in the video to try to show you that it's nothing personal, it's just business.
It's not personal, Sonny. It's strictly business.
So this is, as you can see, this is a packaging from a variety of companies, from a variety of countries. You can kind of see they all follow the same thing. Now, there is something called generalization. Which is what happens when the trademark itself becomes the company. Think spam, which we now only know as either luncheon meat or annoying emails, or something like Windex, right? Now, I'm not saying that's everyone's packaging. I'm just saying that it seems to be that's the majority of the packaging. If we look at Joe Malone, for example, Joe Malone, the name brand, is actually the largest on the label. And it takes up about 20 to 30% of the top of the label. And then you see the fragrance and, the descriptors and stuff. But Joe Malone's a really well-known and established brand. So I think that's where it's just maybe a smidge different. So enter Meghan's As Ever brand. Okay, so first up we've got the strawberry spread. It has the crest and As Ever. Okay, that's the name of the company and the brand or the logo. Okay, so this has the As Ever at I would say probably 60% of the label itself. And then strawberry spread in this little block lettering down here at the bottom. So this is my theory as to why her branding doesn't work. It completely flips the script of what we've seen from generic pantry products to high-end perfumes to the espresso on your countertop. The hierarchy is flipped. Then up next we have the sage with honeycomb. Now, this has different font, okay? So we still have the As Ever and the crest, and that still takes about 50% of the label. So about half of the label, right? And then you have sage in gold honey written in black in script and with honeycomb sort of written over, which I think was supposed to look a little like bon maman, sort of that handwritten thing. But this is different than this, right? Because we still have the gold As Ever crest and the As Ever logo, but then like the strawberry spread is in block lettering in black, and then here there's no block lettering in black. It's handwritten in black, but it's got the sage with honeycomb that's written in block lettering, but slightly spaced out, which you don't really have here. and then it's it's calligraphied on, or handwritten on top, right? And so it kind of, from far away, if you're looking at this, it's a jar of honey, but it's like sagewithhon.com. Like, is what? Sort of right from far away, you're just kind of going, okay. So anyway, so that's the other one. And then the third product here is the tea. Different here, this is going to be logo, again, this is probably 60% of the logo, right? Because you're thinking the A sort of ends here, right? So you're thinking, about 60% of the logo is just dedicated to As Ever. And then the herbal hibiscus tea, block lettering gold. Now this one's handwritten in black. So even though the color scheme's all the same, right? It's a little bit of black, it's a little bit of handwriting, and it's a little bit of gold. This hibiscus tea font, and I get that it's her handwriting, but it looks different than this one. Why is this H capitalized and this H lowercase? This pen stroke looks thinner than this pen stroke, and then of course here we've just got black block lettering. But again, the product, and this kind of goes back to what we talked about last week about how the product itself wasn't the hero. It was sort of giving itself to like, oh, it's this is already an established brand. It's As Ever by Meghan Markle, and you're like, okay, why should I buy it? So this I think is why, because I kept trying to I was looking, I'm like, why does this packaging just look off? And I think that's what it is. So when I asked on a Reddit thread about the packaging, there's a lot of people that said, well, it's because it's beige and it's white. And while I agree, and I walked up and down every single aisle at Target, the only white foods, or the white packages that I could see for foods, were either Rice, this really cool coffee company, or shelf stable milk. Those seem to sort of be all of the options in white. You tend to see white and creams more in like cleaning products, trash bags, the Target brand for like closet organization, and baby products. So, but it doesn't necessarily mean that white is completely off limits for anything. I mean, I just showed you the Victoria Beckham box is white, and if you look at Le Labo, it's a crystal clear perfume bottle with a beige label on it. But because it's photographed against a gray background and it has a very particular type of font, right? You see the fragrance sort of out there in big font, not Le Labo, but the name of the product is in big font. It gives it a little more character. There was also this other company that I stumbled upon called Brightland, which does these beautiful bottles of olive oil, and you can see like Brightland, small font, cooking oil, big font, all sans serif fonts, but there's like a pop of color in the middle. And I think these are just aesthetically beautiful. I mean, look at that photography for that Sumo citrus. I think, if you were to leave this out on your counter, you wouldn't be mad because it doesn't look like a generic bottle of olive oil. Like, they've done a really nice job with art with this particular brand. So that was pretty cool. So it's not so much the white packaging. I really think it comes down to the hierarchy of what is considered large on the brand, and it's not like where it's Joe Malone, where the top, the actual name Joe Malone is the largest font. That even though it is technically the largest font, it still only takes up about 20% of the actual label, whereas the packages for As Ever, As Ever, the font and then the crest take up about 50 to 60% of each one of their labels, therefore putting the product sort of at the bottom and kind of out of view, which is not how packaging appears to work in the real world. I'm trying to be careful and delicate here. Why, hello, little bird. Oh, that's like right outside. That's so sweet. Okay, so again, to show you that this is nothing personal, this is just business.
It's not personal. It's only business.
I am going to as everify the Montecito minimalist candle, okay? And a lot of you have these, and they're very highly rated, and they're 11 ounces, and they contain wicks. They contain 2 wicks. All right, so as some of you know, if you're signed up for emails, I just released the I Can't Believe I'm Not Getting Paid for This collection. And I've honestly thought about, I'm like, you know what? Maybe it is time for a new candle. So I thought a very funny line, the sort of that tiny little descriptor down there at the bottom. I thought that would be really funny if I used the line for the actual description, which was, some engagements are royal, others are not. Most of us receive neither a stipend nor title, and yet we persevere. And I thought, okay, that would sort of all work. So what I did was I went ahead and I changed up the candle. So what I did here was I followed the As Ever packaging rules. I made Montecito Minimalist and the crest about 50% of the packaging, and then I just gave the bottom, 20% of the packaging or of the candle to the descriptor and the product itself. I also tried doing it with like the AI setup that they have here, and it doesn't look any better. But that is essentially what As Ever packaging is doing. So the question is, what makes it look better? Well, I ended up going ahead and I tried fixing some of the same products that we spoke about. So the first one, if you are familiar, is I had posted this on a Saintly subreddit, we'll put it that way, to get your opinions if this sort of worked. So if you still want to keep the brand at the same size that it was, which is what I did, because I don't want to rework the crest and the brand and all that stuff. I'm literally just doing this just to see if I kind of understand packaging. But if you see here, I didn't change really the top part. I made the As Ever and the crest take a little bit less space, like maybe 30% of the label is now As Ever and the crest. And then I just tried to balance the weight of the label out. The weight of the label just basically means like how spaced out everything is. So you don't have like logo, giant empty space, and then itty bitty thing here, right? I kind of wanted it to look a little more cohesive. So what I did is I didn't do very much. I just changed the honey into one of my favorite fonts, which is a Garamond font or something similar to it, and I just capitalized it because I thought, okay, well, honey, it's big. Try to sort of keep it along the same. You don't want to make it too bold. You still want it to look elegant, and basically that's all I did here is I just changed honey and then I spaced out with honeycomb with 2 lines instead of just 1. All right, and number 2, we are going to take a look at the strawberry spread. So I did the same thing here. I tried to make the As Ever like only 50% of the label. It's kind of hard to do, but because it's also charging 2x the amount of Bon Maman, and it's not organic and it's not made in Europe, I thought, well, okay, like how do you still make it a little premium? And I thought a custom lid I think would have been nice. And maybe just a little bit of like gold trim at the bottom. And the label could have had maybe like an additional little stripe of trim, which you can see around there. And all I did here was I took it from that, Terminator 2 Judgment Day block lettering, because that's the first thing that came to mind. I was like, is that the Terminator font? It's not, but that was literally what I thought. It looks, you have all this like handwriting in gold, and then it's like, anyway. All I did here did the same thing. Serif font, really nice, sort of Fortnum and Masony a little bit, and just did strawberry spread all in caps, kept it kind of like what she was doing. And I just changed the label up and the jar just a smidge. But that was just me, just, doing packaging stuff. And then the third one here we have is the As Ever herbal hibiscus tea. So same thing. Instead of the As Ever kind of taking 60% of the packaging, I ended up just sort of trying to break it up a little bit. So it was like only 40 to 50% of the packaging. And then same thing, just caps, hibiscus tea, nice and easy. If you see it on a shelf, you're going to know what it is. You're not going to go Christmas tea, right? Chibicus tea, right? It's just bam, right there. Oh, yep, love hibiscus. Want to try this one. I have a little tea on this tea, by the way. One of you said that you really liked tea and candles. And you said the candles were fine. And you were like, whoever the purveyor or whoever the white labeler is of the tea, like needs auditing, and she sent me a picture. She sent me one bag of tea was 2 grams and the other bag of tea was 3 grams, and it just was not great. Now, I did do one last thing. I capitalized the E. I know. I'm an English major. It just pains me that the second name is in lowercase, because on the bottom of her website, it actually shows As Ever Enterprises or something like that, LLC, and the E is capitalized. So it just, ugh. So here it is. Here's the E. And you could see like the A is really, really tall. So I didn't quite know how to space out the E in Ever. So I kind of used sort of where the S sits. I use that as like the base of like where the rest of the next word would land. But even then, it's just the sort of the spacing's odd, and I just couldn't really figure out how to make it look nicer. So in the end, the issue with As Ever packaging isn't the color palette, and it isn't minimalism, it's hierarchy. The design treats the brand name as if it's already strong enough to carry the entire product, as if As Ever has the kind of recognition that lets the name become the hero. But for a new brand, that usually isn't enough. That's why the side-by-side examples matter. When you apply the As Ever approach to another product, it feels strange. But when you make small changes, it improves the overall balance and emphasizes the product, not the brand. Even with small changes, the packaging immediately feels more polished. In other words, good packaging doesn't ask the brand name to do all the work. Well, that's about it for the video. Let me know if you liked the changes, if you didn't like the changes, what you would have done. And if you did participate in my packaging hierarchy thesis, let me know what items you grabbed. Did they match? Did they not match? Let me know. And if you guys haven't seen my other videos, I did a breakdown last week on the actual product copy or the descriptors of Meghan's As Ever website compared to, we'll say, price equivalent counterparts. And we talked about that. Before then, I did a breakdown on Elizabeth Taylor's white diamonds. And then before then, there's another video on billion-dollar celebrity brands. So those will sort of be linked and put over here or over there or somewhere around. And if you're interested in aviation, I am an airline pilot by day, so there are a couple of older videos to talk about my journey from flight attendant to pilot. But until then, I'll be out next week, if not next week, the week after, with another business breakdown. So have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!